Introduction to Herbal Energetics. Greetings and welcome. Thank you for joining officinalis Herbalism in our presentation of herbs and human body systems. This is the first lesson in a series of an additional 12 lessons covering the major systems and processes of the body and the related herbs that can be used supportively and therapeutically. This lesson does differ from the rest in that it is pre-recorded, where the rest will be presented in a live stream webinar format. This lesson will give you an idea of the type of content I will present throughout the rest of this series. Being online, I get to skip the usual spiel about fire exits, washrooms, and muster points that usually start a class. So if you're ready, hold on. We're going to get energized about herbs and human body systems by plugging into this first lesson, an introduction to energetics. But before I do, could you be so kind as to subscribe, like, and share, please? Leave your questions in the comment section or send them by email to officinalisfightclub@gmail.com. Ding, ding, ding. School is now in session. The Herbal Energetics outline for today's class. We're going to cover a bit of an introduction, talk about vitalism, some physiomedicalism, get into the energetics of things, discuss some of the traditional systems, the elements, the temperaments, tissue states, the taste of the energetics, and how we're going to apply it practically. Herbal energetics is a system of understanding and applying plants based on their perceived energetic properties. Similar to how different foods and medicines interact with the body, it involves matching the energetic characteristics of a person or condition with the energetic qualities of herbs, aiming for balance and healing. Vitalist herbalism centers on the belief that there's an inherent life force or vitality within all living beings, and that enables them to heal themselves. It emphasizes supporting this natural healing process rather than suppressing symptoms or aggressively treating conditions. Key tenets include honoring the body's natural intelligence, working in harmony with nature, and considering the whole person, including their physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. The underlying beliefs of vitalism include the innate healing capacity, where vitalist herbalism recognizes that the body has this innate ability to heal itself and driven by an internal life force or vitality, it's called. It's holistic. It considers the individual as a whole, looking beyond surface symptoms to understand the underlying root cause of a condition. It's supporting. Instead of aggressively suppressing the symptoms, vitalist herbalists focus on supporting the body's natural healing processes. Harmony with nature. Well, the vitalist herbalism emphasizes aligning with natural rhythms and principles, recognizing the interconnectedness of all living things. Personalized treatment, recognizing each person is unique and therefore treatment plans should be tailored to their specific needs and constitution. It focuses on lifestyle factors like nutrition, sleep, stress management, and connection to nature. They all play a vital role in supporting the overall well-being of an individual. And it emphasizes using plants as a whole, considering their energetic and spiritual properties and not just their chemical constitution. Physiomedicalism is a system of natural medicine that focuses on restoring the body's natural functions and vitality through herbal remedies, particularly those that are non-poisonous. It aims to address the underlying imbalances in the body rather than just treating the symptoms, and it's rooted in the work of Samuel Thompson, an American herbalist from the early 19th century. Physiomedicalism relies heavily on the use of herbs and other natural substances to promote healing and restore balance in the body. Its goal is to invigorate the body and to return it to a state of optimal health and function where symptoms are absent. It's closely related to the work of Samuel Thompson, who developed and popularized this approach of healing. There's a clear contrast and distinction between conventional medical practices that often rely on more aggressive treatments and interventions, and the influence of modern herbalism today. Well, physiomedicalism has influenced that broader field of herbalism and continues to be studied and practiced by some today. The foundation of energetics are observational. The herbal energetics is based on the direct observation and experience of how plants interact with the body, mind, and spirit. It's holistic. considering the individual as a whole, including their physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects. And it recognizes patterns. Energetics involves identifying patterns in both human and plant energetics to create a match. The key elements of energetics are, well, the plants themselves, where each plant is assigned energetic qualities like warm, cool, dry, or moist, etc. These qualities reflect how the plant is believed to affect the body. It's more than just a belief. You can directly experience it. Part of that foundation of energetics being observational. The constitutional energetics of the individual, include a temperament and current state of health or imbalance. And then there's the herbalists themselves, where their experience and connection with plants are crucial in identifying the right remedies. Traditional systems around the world, energetics principles were used in various traditional health systems like your TCM or traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, Unani Tib, as well as various schools of Western herbalism. These systems include concepts like humors, doshas, elements, temperaments, and they describe a spectrum of energetic states within the body. Some examples of these include the humoral theory. In this theory, the human body is made of 4 humors: the blood, or sanguine, black bile, melancholy, yellow bile, which is the choler, and phlegm. The imbalance of these humors is the cause of illness. And historically, they would try to create balance in these by draining various levels of these substances from the body, or giving plants or other substances to the body to help them get rid of these substances to restore balance. It's kind of interesting. In doshas, like within Ayurveda medicine, the 3 doshas, the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, are fundamental forces that govern the body and mind. They are believed to be the combinations of the 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, and earth, and influence physiological and psychological functions. Vata is kind of air plus space, and the Vata governs movement, communication, and energy. It's associated with creativity, enthusiasm, and quick thinking. And when out of balance, Vata can lead to anxiety, dry skin, and digestive issues. Pitta would be a combination of fire and water. Pitta is the digestive and metabolic force. It's associated with intelligence and strength and decisiveness. When out of balance, Pitta can cause anger, irritability, and digestive problems. Kapha is the water plus the earth, and it's a grounding and nurturing force associated with calmness, loyalty, and stability. When out of balance, Kapha can lead to lethargy, weight gain, and respiratory problems. In Ayurvedic medicine, maintaining balance among the doshas is crucial for overall well-being. And understanding your dominant dosha can guide you into choosing foods, lifestyle practices, and other interventions that support balance and promote health. Magic. Well, there's a traditional system. Herbalism and magic, though they are distinct practices, have a long and intertwined history, particularly in folk traditions. Herbalism uses the plants for medicinal and practical purposes, often involves a spiritual or mystical understanding of the plants themselves, where magic in this context can refer to the belief that herbs possess inherent powers or that certain rituals involving them can influence the world. The shamanic and ritual roots, where herbalism is seen by some as a direct descendant of shamanic practices, where individuals use plants to connect with spirits and to heal. Then there's the ritual aspect, where many herbal remedies are accompanied by rituals like chants, prayers, or symbolic acts, reflecting the belief that the meaning and intention behind the treatment are crucial for its effectiveness. There's a spiritual connection, where herbs are often linked to a deeper connection with nature and the belief that plants have their own spirit or energy. The correspondences and magical properties are assigned to the specific properties to herbs, and based on the appearance of properties or associations with deities, elements, and planets. Then there's the plant spirits, where each herb has its unique spirit, and these spirits can be harnessed for magical purposes. Herbalism is a form of, or can be a form of folk magic, integrated with that, where many herbal remedies and magical practices are rooted in folk traditions, where the knowledge and practices are passed down through generations. Um, there's meaning intent behind them, where the power of herbalism is often believed not to lie just in the plant itself, but also in the meaning intent associated with it, and also used for healing and protection, both from physical ailments and protection against negative influences, spells, or spirits. The borderland between science and spirituality is another aspect of the magic and herbalism, where some herbalists would take a scientific approach focusing on the medicinal properties of herbs, and others embrace a more spiritual or metaphysical understanding. There's an aspect of placebo that's recognized in herbalism, and it's kind of the belief that the intention or meaning attached to a remedy can influence its outcome. It reminds me of how my wife, as a physiotherapist, they were taught to always tell their patient how good that feels after they treated them, and the patients will often believe that even if they don't actually feel better. And then there's that importance of intention, where the belief that using herbs for magic and healing, and you have that intent behind it, and that has that power or so. And in essence, the relationship between magic and herbalism is one of shared history, interwoven traditions, and a belief in the power of nature to heal and influence the world. The elements. In herbalism, the concept of elements refers to a system of classifying plants and their properties, often based on traditional Western or Eastern philosophies. These elements are not literal ingredients, but rather energetic qualities or principles that herbs embody and that can relate to different aspects of the body and mind. You might say it's just a way to communicate in a language that others might understand, using elements of the world around them. So within Western herbalism, there's the four traditional elements would be air, fire, water, and earth. Air representing the breath of life, inspiration, communication, and expansion. Fire symbolizing passion, warmth, digestion, and energy. The water represents our emotions, cooling, fluidity, and body fluids, where the earth represents grounding, stability, structure, and the physical form. Within TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine, they have 5 elements, an additional one there being metal. And they're a little bit different the way they're understood, but wood associated with growth, expansion, new beginnings. The fire is similar to the Western element, but it focuses on transformation and warmth. The earth represents the digestive system, grounding, and stability, where metal is associated with structure, rigidity, and the respiratory system. Water represents the kidneys, emotions, and downward movement. Other elements. Let's talk about ether, often considered the 5th element and representing the subtle energy or life force. Wikipedia says that the word ether in Homeric Greek means pure, fresh air, or clear sky. And in Greek mythology, it was thought to be the pure essence of the gods. It was thought to be the pure essence that the gods breathed, filling the space where they lived, analogous to the air breathed by mortals. It's also personified as a deity, Aether, the son of Erebus and Nyx in traditional Greek mythology. And ether is related to to incinerate, or to an intransitive, to burn or to shine. It's related to the name Ethiopus, or where the Ethiopians get their name from. How the elements are used in herbalism. Well, they have herbal energetics, where the herbalists use elements to communicate the properties of different herbs and how they interact in the body. There's the individualization, where understanding the person's elemental imbalances, herbalists can choose herbs that address those imbalances and promote well-being. The relationship to the body, where elements can be used to understand the different organs and systems of the body and how they relate to the elements. And the understanding of plants, where herbalists can use elements to understand the characteristics and properties of the plants. And I'll note here that the exact interpretation and application of the elements can vary between different schools of herbalism and tradition, and many don't even use this. Temperaments. Well, traditionally, the four temperament theory is it's a proto-physiological theory, they say. Proto-psychological theory, which suggests that there are four fundamental personality types: sanguine, choleric, melancholic, and phlegmatic. Most formulations include the possibilities of mixtures among the types, where individual personalities overlap and share two or more temperaments. The Greek physician Hippocrates described the four temperaments as part of an ancient medical concept of humorism, where the bodily fluids affect human personality traits and behaviors. And although modern medical science does not define a fixed relationship between these internal secretions and personalities, some psychological personality type systems still use a very similar categorization to these Greek temperaments. The four temperament theory was abandoned late in the middle of the 1800s, I guess. However, it is still used as a framework within medicine and science of different fields today. And then there's the tissue states. This is a more contemporary understanding, where in herbalism, these tissue states refer to energetic qualities and an activity of a specific organ or tissue in the body. It helps herbalists understand and address the health issues by understanding imbalances like excess or deficiency in heat, moisture, and tension. By understanding these states, a herbalist can select herbs that counter these imbalances and promote healing. Understanding tissue states means looking at three different sections, basically. Well, there's the opposite aspect, where herbal energetics use three pairs of opposites to describe tissue states: hot versus cold, damp versus dry, and tense versus lax. There's a little more to the temperature aspect. While temperature is a key aspect, the tissue states also consider metabolic activity, energy generation, and the speed of tissue or organ function. And then identifying these imbalances, where herbalists will look for excess or deficiencies in these qualities to understand the root cause of a health issue. There are 6 primary states or tissue states, where these imbalances are often seen. We're looking at the temperature, moisture, and tension, where with temperature, we're looking more at like heat excitation, characterized by inflammation, heat, overactivity, and agitation. And the symptoms may include restlessness, stress, irritability, fever, redness. The opposite of that would be a cold depression, characterized by reduced metabolic activity, energy deficiency, and a feeling of coolness. The symptoms might include fatigue, lethargy, and cold extremities. With dampness, so we're looking at moisture, there's the dampness aspect, characterized by excess moisture, stagnation, and heaviness. Symptoms include swelling, fluid retention, and congestion. And dryness would be the polar, characterized by a lack of moisture, dryness, and friction. Symptoms may include dry skin, constipation, and thirst. Looking at tension, it's characterized by tight, contracted, resistant tissue, and symptoms include spasms, pain, and stiffness. The converse is characterized by looseness, laxity, weakness, or lack of tone. Symptoms include fatigue, lethargy, and weakness. To use the tissue states in herbalism, we'll want to match the herbs to the states. And by understanding tissue states, herbalists can choose herbs that counterbalance the imbalance. For example, a herb that is considered cooling would be used for a state of heat excitation. There's a precision in treatment, which allows for more precise and effective treatment, addressing specific root cause of the underlying problem rather than just the symptoms. And with a holistic approach, the tissue states are part of a broader herbalist approach that considers the whole person and not just their individual symptoms, recognizing the dynamic nature of illness as well. The tastes of energetics. Herbal energetics, a core concept in traditional herbalism, explores how herbs interact with the body based on their tastes, characteristics, and perceived effects. This system helps herbalists understand a plant's therapeutic properties and choose herbs that align with specific needs. The taste of a herb is often a key indicator of its energetic qualities. To understand the taste of a herb, the flavor of a herb, and its potential uses, both culinary and medicinally, we recognize there are different tastes like bitter, salt, pungent, sour, sweet, and they signal specific actions within the body, influencing how herbalists choose remedies. Flavor is a signal, particularly important, where the phytochemicals, they would give the herb its taste, and that can give an indication of the effects it'll have on the body. For instance, bitter flavors being associated with digestive support, while sweet flavors can be soothing. In a culinary application, flavor is crucial, where the herb's taste guides culinary decisions, ensuring harmonious flavor combinations and enhancing overall taste profiles. Medicinally, traditional healing systems like Ayurveda and Chinese medicine have long recognized the link between taste and medicinal properties, where the flavor of a herb can help determine its suitability for treating specific ailments and conditions. Bitter herbs, for example, like dandelion root, are known for the ability to stimulate digestion and improve liver function. And then there's the flavor and quality, where experienced herbalists can use what's called organoleptics, or the ability to use your senses, smell, taste, and visual inspections to assess the quality and potency of a herb. A strong characteristic flavor often indicates high quality herb with a greater concentration of desired compounds. Pungent herbs are characterized by a bold, often aromatic flavor profile that can be described as spicy, aromatic, or even acrid. They stimulate the nerve endings in the mouth, throat, and create a sharp, fiery sensation. While pungency can involve a hot, sharp, or biting quality, it's not limited to a single volatile compound. It's a descriptor for herbs and spices with a strong, noticeable flavor. Pungent herbs are characteristically spicy or hot to taste and a biting aroma. Energetically, they can be warm and dry. The constituents include resins, allyl sulfides, and monoterpenes, and they can stimulate digestion and circulation, produce diaphoresis, and act as a decongestant. The flavor sensation is created by these oils, stimulating the nerve endings in the mouth and throat, causing a sharp, fiery, or burning sensation. And while pungent herbs can be spicy, they also include herbs with strong aromatic tastes that aren't necessarily hot, like peppermint, for example. Other ones would be oregano, rosemary, sage, and spices like ginger, coriander, cumin, and cayenne. Sweet herbs generally have a pleasant, often floral or fruity aroma and flavor, contributing to a subtle sweetness to dishes without being overly sugary. They're often used in desserts, but can also add a unique dimension to savory dishes. The sweet taste can be recognized due to the polysaccharides or large chain carbohydrates found in fungi as well. Sweet herbs have a bittersweet flavor. Energetically, they are moistening or slightly warming to slightly cooling. They include polysaccharides, saponins, and glycosides chemically, and they are nutritive, toning, and an adaptogenic quality to them, and immune boosting as well. The sweetness, not intensely sugary, but they provide a subtle sweetness to dishes. They often have a delicate floral aroma like lavender. Some herbs like lemon balm or orange peel have a refreshing fruit-like aroma. Others like sweet woodruff offer a almond-like nutty flavor and aroma. Some sweet herbs would be various fungi rich in their polysaccharides. Basil, common culinary herb, with its various varieties. Lavender is known for its delicate floral aroma and flavor. Spearmint, sweeter variety of mint, a little bit lighter and refreshing in flavor. Other examples: lemon balm, orange peel, thyme, apple mint, catnip, etc. Sour herbs are characterized by their tart and tangy taste, often due to the presence of organic acids like citric acid or malic acid. They're generally cooling and nourishing and provide many antioxidants. In traditional Chinese medicine, the sour taste is associated with the liver and has astringent properties, helping to constrict fluid and strengthen tissue. Sour herbs are cooling, balancing, and nourishing. The constituents include citric acid, malic acid, and absorbic acid, as well as flavonoids and antioxidants. And sour herbs are high in antioxidants, anti-inflammatory properties. They're toning and hepatagogue, or they look after your liver. Key characteristics include their taste, the bit of a sour or tart flavor resulting from the acids. They have these astringent properties helping to draw and bind fluids, helping with conditions like diarrhea and excessive bleeding. Their antioxidants protect the body from damage by free radicals. The role within the liver is vital to various body functions, from making and breaking down hormones to digesting food, etc. Sour herbs are often cooling and nourishing to the body, offering a refreshing and energizing sensation. Some examples of sour herbs would be your berries, or fruit like lemon, lime, cranberries. Some teas like a green or black tea, and that astringent quality. And the Schizandra berry or hawthorn as well. Bitter herbs are characterized by their puckering, sharp, and disagreeable taste. They often contain compounds like alkaloids, phenolics, volatile oils, and contribute to the bitter flavor and potential medicinal properties. Bitters can stimulate the digestive system, promote appetite, as well as other systemic effects. The bitter taste is relaxing and detoxifying. They're often cooling and drying. The constituents include diterpenes, glycosides, anthraquinones, and alkaloids. The properties are detoxifying, ulcerative, cholagogue, digestive, stimulants, and laxative. So it'll help you flush things out. The characteristics include tastes. While there are obvious bitter tastes and sharp, pungent, disagreeable nature, the constituents include the alkaloids, phenolics, volatile oils, and other phytochemicals contributing to their bitter flavor. Just talked about their stimulation for digestion and producing saliva and digestive juices. Their bitter taste can stimulate appetite and activating taste receptors, signaling the brain to enhance the appetite. Systemic effects include your liver function, cleaning the blood, and promoting a healthy immune system, where other potential benefits are believed to have a calming and grounding effect on the nervous system, as well as anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Some examples of bitter herbs would be the dandelion, which is often used for its liver and digestive support. Chicory, used in the same way. Wormwood, extremely bitter, used for various ailments, including digestive issues and parasites and worms and such as well. Chamomile, not intensely bitter, but has a mild bitterness and calming property to it. And then there's gentian, which is known for its bitter digestive benefits. The dosage of bitter herbs can vary depending on the herb and the individual, so it's important to play it safe, follow recommended guidelines, and start low. And there's some individual sensitivities that can be noted, as many individuals will find bitter herbs to be overly stimulating or uncomfortable. And so, start with small amounts, pay attention to how they feel, increase as needed. In the context of herbalism and culinary uses, salty herbs don't have a literal salty taste like table salt. Instead, they are herbs that are nutrient-rich, often with a mineral savory flavor, and can be used to enhance dishes or traditional herbal practices. Some examples include seaweeds and plants that absorb salts through their roots. Salty herbs have a slightly green, salty, grassy taste. The energetics are balancing, moistening, and drying, and very nourishing. The constituents include magnesium, potassium, sodium, and calcium. Those, nourishing mineral salts. It's a nutritive, diuretic, lymphatic, and alkalizing. They often have a nutrient-rich and mineral-like flavor. The herbs like rosemary and thyme add a salty, nutty flavor without the use of salt. Within your culinary uses, traditional herbal practices apply a salty flavor with the association of softening hardness. And some salty herbs are used to address conditions like swelling or nodules, or even to calm the mind and spirit. Think about a sea salt bath. The practical application: by understanding both the plant and personal energetics, herbalists can select appropriate remedies to address specific imbalances. And the other part would be balancing. The goal is to bring the individual back into a state of balance by matching the plant's energetics with the conditions to be treated. Some additional considerations when it comes to energetics: it's not just plants and people or the herbalists, but it goes out into the macrocosm as well. Some other aspects to think about would be the whole is more than the sum of its parts. And so you can extract a plant for its isolated chemical constituents and apply them in a single application to someone in a concentrated format. And that's one way to do medicine. But there's within herbalism, the idea of 1 + 1 = 3, or that the sum of a whole is more than its parts, and that using the whole plant produces more substantial benefits than the isolated extract or compound. Another aspect would be that maybe the most valuable herbal medicines are the most abundant. This is kind of an energetic aspect that people don't have an answer for, where things like burdock and dandelion and plantain and nettle, these people plants that follow us around and get in our face and tell us to use them all the time. Most people don't listen to that because they're not picking up on that energy, but it's still very much there. And then there's the idea of like synergy or antagonism, where plants work together, again, in a similar 1 + 1 = 3 manner, where, you're not just using the plant as a whole, but now you're combining plants and you're getting a compounded effect because of that combination. Or the opposite is true, where certain plants, similar to pharmaceuticals, where certain plants can interact with another plant and reduce its effect. We use this in an energetic concept where, not just to balance the tissue, but you can balance a formula by, if someone's has cold, moist tissue, you don't want to give too much of a cold or a dampening plant. And so you would balance that, if it's in a formula, with a plant that would be warming and drying, leaning to that side to treat the person as well. I can talk more about that in particular in our upcoming lessons. But then there's the idea of low dose botanicals, where sometimes just a drop of a super diluted plant extract of a whole plant can produce profound medicinal effects. There's things like prayer, or the power of water and its memory, magnetism and the energy fields that people don't understand, light therapy, forest bathing, electroculture. There's just faith, so much more, to the world and the energy and the unseen realm that we don't understand. And so I just added this list here to open the idea that there is more to our reality than the physical realm, and that energetic aspect is very much alive and real. Specifically within herbalism, we are able to learn that language from plants and to communicate that to others, and to share the benefits of the effects medicinally and therapeutically. It's a real wonderful thing to kind of get in touch with that. So there's a lot more I could say on this topic. but this is just a brief introduction to herbal energetics and provides a foundation for the upcoming 12 lessons and provides an underpinning foundation to exploring the different tissues of those systems and how those plants are going to work. And so, thank you. Again, hit the like, subscribe, and share if you made it through to the end.